We started the day hoping it would be a 3-0 whitewash for India. Sadly, wasn't meant to be. Australia have got the much-needed boost that they needed before the World Cup, winning by 66 runs. Welcome back to Cricbuzz Live. I'm Saiyami, Kher. I have DK and Zach with me. Well, we see here 66 runs. Rohit got his 81. Virat got 56. Shreyas 48. But there was the Maxi show with 4 for 40 in 10 overs. DK, where do you think we went wrong in the chase?
The fall of Virat Kohli's wicket, I thought, was a big one. Known as the master of chases, he was all set and taking India to a point where they could get into a strong position, and he played a shot that he wouldn't be really proud of, picking length but not picking it right, and played looking to hit over mid-wicket, getting caught, and I think that was the turning point of the game. After that, it was always going to be tough to catch up. And if you remember what Zach had said in the mid-show as well, post 25-30 overs, the ball gets softer and gets hard for stroke making, and that's exactly what happened today. The middle order not standing up to the pressures of Australia's bowling. But it's good to see Shreyas Iyer again do what he did today. Got a good little knock. But I think the best part of India's batting today was, by a big distance, was Rohit Sharma. I thought he batted brilliantly. The kind of shot making that he did, very authoritative, and again stamped his class and showed the world why he's one of the best going around in world cricket.
You know, Zach, you said that we needed someone to go and get that big 100, which didn't happen because we looked like we were all set. We almost chased and mirrored what Australia were doing, but then we also kind of had a crumble in the with our middle order. Virat, like DK was saying, was looking very good, looking like, he was setting himself up for that big 100, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, if you look at both the teams, the pattern was pretty much similar, isn't it? If you compare it, all the top orders actually contributing, not going on to getting that big score, the three-digit figure, but new ball was the key. I think Australia did very well with first 10 overs really putting the bowlers under pressure, and then you judge the game at 30-over mark, and 30-over mark was actually for Australia, it was 230, 240 runs, if I'm not mistaken, and for India, it was around 185. So that's how the game was going, and that's the difference. You look at the margin of loss; it's 66 runs. So I think those 50, 55 runs is something which Australia were ahead at that stage, and that eventually turned out to be the margin of victory for them. So that first phase of the game, the 30 overs, how Australia batted, how they set the platform, even if we were thinking that, okay, they could have taken India out of the game at the halfway mark, they didn't, but still it was enough. And the reflection was in Maxwell's performance, I think. The ball was gripping a bit. We did see some into the wicket slower ones which were bowled by Bumrah and Siraj, both the similar kind of tactics you've seen from Mitchell Starc, Pat Cummins and Hazelwood, resulting in wicket. Virat's wicket also was that extra bit of bounce on the turn. So all those factors look at the advantage of batting first. So it was a good decision by Australia, winning the toss, batting first. So all those things were the margins of this game. India may be short on Ishan Kishan. That is the question. Washington Sundar opening the innings today. So that little bit of gap was also there. So all in all, Australia were better equipped today and played better cricket than India to win the game.
DK, if we can have that innings progression which you were showing, it's the 11th to the 20th over where we, I think, lost a few extra wickets which Australia didn't lose. Do you think that was the changing point in the chase for India?
The more than the 11th to 20th, and I say that only because we didn't lose a wicket in the first 10 overs. So we were bound to lose a wicket if we we're going to go strong. That 21 to 30 period is the deciding factor. And we lost Virat Kohli in that place and Rohit Sharma. So now that two big wickets in a span of 10 overs, and we have scored 25 runs less, which makes the difference in these sort of chases. Because when you're chasing 350, you need a big 100. Somebody to get that big 100. More often than not, it's been one of these two players who have shepherded the team home. But today, alas, it was not to be. Virat Kohli getting out on 56, Rohit Sharma getting out on 81, both to off-spinners. So you got to credit the off-spinner, Maxwell. I thought he did a fantastic job. The good thing is, even though he is not, you can't say he's a non-regular bowler, but not somebody who would bowl his full quota of overs consistently. He bowls overspin, which gets him bounce. And in Rajkot, the one thing that you will get is, because of it's a rich soil wicket, some extra bounce, and he used that to his advantage. and you could see that he's a man who is confident with his bowling. He's bowled so much in T20 cricket, and he's so used to bowling defensively. One day cricket, in a way, is easier for him to bowl, and you could see that the fact that he could add a few wickets adds to the fact that Australia can pick up those wickets in the middle overs, but it was a good positive for Australia. On the other side, I thought India had quite a few positives with the ball and with the bat, but just not good enough to finish the game.
You know, because we were chatting about Maxwell, just Zach, a little bit on Maxwell. We spoke about how he makes such a big impact. We spoke about how he could be what Hardik is to Team India. He didn't perform with the bat, but he came out and did what was required from him with the ball.
Well, that's the advantage of an all-rounder, isn't it? If you're not able to contribute with the bat, you always have a dip with the ball. And today Maxwell was just superb. He's very defensive bowler, like how DK was mentioning with the T20 format. But if help on offer, any bowler becomes that has that extra bit of advantage, which Maxwell was able to use it. Add to that, he's a brilliant fielder as well. So that's the asset you have, and if you have if you're going to be contributing in all the three departments, it makes that much easier for anyone to back you, and that has been the case with Maxwell. So it's always going to be an asset for any team if a player like that is available. He's been out with the injury for a while now, but anytime a player like that is fit, you always will be tempted to just, put him right in the playing 11.
You know, you spoke about his fielding, that catch that he took of Rohit. I don't even know, it's like a blink and miss kind of a catch that he took, but you said he's so phenomenal in the field, we can see that. But DK, he's someone who just makes the bowling also look just so much more comfortable for Australia. You know, if Zampa is not in, if he's not having a good day, Maxwell can come in and contribute in a big way.
He's a three-dimensional cricketer. I know that's a very sensitive term in Team India, but he is a three-dimensional cricketer for Australia. He obviously brings a lot to the team, and you could see how he's been missed because he plays, when it comes to batting, he bats in the middle and tries to finish an inning. When it comes to his bowling, he bowls critical overs in the middle of the inning along with Zampa. The advantage is he brings the ball back into the right-hander, Zampa takes it out. So this is a good skill to have right now. And also we must remember, when they toured India, I think it was in 2015 or 14 when Zach was playing still. He played as an off spinner a couple of the games because they didn't have a full-time spinner at that stage. So he played as an off spinner and bowled pretty decently. So he knows his bowling, he knows his off spin, and the fact that he can chip in with wickets even better. And he's a very important player for them because I think when you look at it from outside, the way the Australian team operates, he plays a very critical role in terms of how they look at him. The big show is what they call him, and they believe that he can put in the big performances when the big matches come, and that obviously says a lot about the player.
Well, he started off as an off spinner. There's Steve Smith, who started off as a leg spinner. So there's a whole lot of things that the Australian team does. We'll have a look at the bowling card because they'll be very happy with what they've done today. We have been talking about how the bowling department has not really been performing for Australia. Stark, a little expensive, Stark standard, didn't get that early breakthrough which he usually does. But Hazelwood, Cummins, all very impressive, Zach.
Yeah, today's pitch was a good one actually for batting. Especially to the fast bowlers. So if you consider that, then these figures are not that bad. We've seen it with the first innings. The scoring was pretty much similar. With the new ball, it was tougher to bowl on. So considering all that, I think it was a good effort. This was possibly the best attack which Australia has, which was on display, and they've not disappointed. Once your batting team gets runs on board, after that it's your responsibility to make sure that you get the team home. And that's what they did. So even though it was tough with the new ball, they've done the job. Spin was something which was always going to be a factor on this pitch, and Maxwell really supported them well and kept them in the game. So in spite of the partnership, Maxwell had a terrific day out there, and that made it very easy for Australian bowling unit to flourish in these conditions.
DK, you think that Stark looked 100% today, or you feel he was still not looking his full fit self?
For sure, not even close to what he is capable of. He's coming back from an injury, and it takes time generally for your body to get used to the gruels of playing. Even if it's a one-day game, you've got to bowl 10 overs across a couple of spells. It's not that easy, and knowing that they're defending a tall score, I think he would have assessed it in such a way that if he's able to pick wickets up front, great. Otherwise, I think the majority of the work would have come at the back end of the innings. But what was good to see in that bowling attack, and I thought the best of the fast bowlers, was Josh Hazlewood. He's got that heavy ball, hits a good length, and he really bowled well. Keeping it very economical is one thing, but the way he picked up wickets as well augurs well for the Australian team. And we've spoken about Josh Hazlewood, that he's really good with the new ball and through the middle phase. It's generally at the death that he's got hit a little bit, but today he didn't bowl so much at the death, wasn't tested as well, but the first two spells of his was really good, and that again is a good sign for Australia. We are good hosts, India. We obviously are very hospitable people, so I think we wanted them to win the one game so that they can go into the World Cup a lot more confident.
Yeah, but there's something we can go very confident with is also the way Rohit looked today. He looked spectacular, and it's almost unfair when you get out to a catch that's so brilliant, because 81 of 57 balls. And, he just looked so impressive, Zach, because from the word go, he looked like he was showing the intent which we spoke, that Marsh showed as well. So just very positive signs for India.
Yeah, I think the big talk in the Aussie dressing room will be don't bowl short to this guy. You have to find a way of not giving him those short pitch deliveries. He just lashes onto them, and it doesn't matter what kind of form he is in. If you feed him there, and he is gonna punish you for sure. And that's what he did today. It was important, not a regular opener batting along with him. So he had to take that additional responsibility, which he did beautifully. And yeah, those short pitch deliveries, he was ready to take them on. And 5 sixes in those first 10 or 12 overs was something which was the hallmark of his innings. That really set the tone. In spite of irregular opener being there with him, that partnership was still a good one as a team, and that's what was required. So yeah, for Virat later on to come in, it was that much easier to keep up with the tempo.
This is something that we've discussed a lot with Michael on this show, but his strike rate was 142 plus, I think 142.3. And it just, as an opener, when you have a strike rate like that, it just makes life so much simpler for the middle order, where like a Virat gets time to set himself in at number 3. Unfortunately, Rohit couldn't convert, but a phenomenal strike rate as well.
I'll tell you why Rohit is a very important player for Team India. He bats at a strike rate far higher than the rest of them when they start the innings. In the first 10 balls, he and Surya Kumar Yadav are the two batters who can get off very, very quickly off the blocks. And that's very important, especially if you have players like Gills and the Virat Kohlis around you. You need somebody to get off the block really fast. And that is where these two players are really special. In their first 10 balls, they have the potential to play at a strike rate of 130, 140, which is a skill in itself. It is probably one of the hardest skill as a batter, especially at the top of the innings. It is very hard, but that's where he is so special. And a great example was today. He didn't have an able partner in Washington Sundar, but he made up for it. India were at the end of 10, 12 overs were very much in the running in this game, and largely thanks to to Rohit Sharma getting a 50 of 30 balls, hitting 5 sixes, and also the kind of shots that he played will give him a lot of confidence, because even the last ball of the power play, he had a ordinary over. He had played 5 balls, just got the 2 runs, and he was looking for that boundary. But instead of going aerial, he picked the slow ball and hit it between mid-wicket and mid-on. Now, that's a special shot, and also tells you he's in good form. He's seeing the ball well, which is all good, ominous signs for Team India.
Zach, we're so spoiled rather, when Virat goes to like a 50 plus score, you assume he's going to get 100, because that's how he sets up his innings. When he's 50 plus, he'll go a little slowly and then he'll just go completely boom boom everywhere and get to that 100 marks. You're spoiled as a fan. He looked very, very good again. At no point do you feel that Virat comes in, he takes some, doesn't look his best. He always looks so good. So again, positive signs for India.
Yeah, I mean, he looks to rotate through that middle phase of the game. He will be around this kind of a strike rate only. If on a good day, it will be maybe 10, 20 higher. But generally, he likes to pace his innings in this fashion and then go around 30, 35th over and change that gear. So he was in the zone, I felt. Short mid-wicket was there. There was no one in the deep. So he was just looking to target that area. Extra bounce got him today. But he looked good. The platform was set. KL and him also, in spite of Rohit getting out at that stage, if they had stitched that partnership, things would have been easier, or Australian bowlers would have been under more pressure. That didn't happen on the day, but the runs which he scored is the exact template how he bats. And when you're talking about form and how things are looking, you look at that batting order and you'll see that everyone has been among the runs, enough game time, enough matches, and that is something which is important. So I think as a batting unit, India getting into this big tournament, things are looking good.
You know, like you said, everyone's looking good. Shreyas also has grabbed his opportunities after that first run out in the first ODI, 100 and a 48 again in the middle order. So it feels like Shreyas has set his mind to, making sure he's in the playing 11 because he's grabbing the opportunities coming to him.
At the start of this India-Australia series, there were a few players that we discussed and we said that we hoped that they would get going so that it augurs well for Team India. And I thought most of the players have done that. Be it Shreyas Iyer, be it Ravichandran Ashwin, be it Jasprit Bumrah bowling the spell that he did today. So what this bilateral set out for, I think Team India has achieved. Shreyas Iyer being a very integral part of what Team India's plans are, and he needed to get some runs under his belt because they backed him. They have the confidence that he can deliver the goods, and he delivered it today as well. 48, chasing a big total, but always trying to keep up with the run rate. He did a good job. He's a terrific player of spin who can hit boundaries at ease, especially of spin. And today he showed that skill again, taking down Tanvir Sangha and Maxwell whenever the opportunity presented itself. But in between all that, played the fast bowlers well. He'll take a lot more confidence out of the knock that he played in Indo. Just the way he stamped his authority right from the outset was brilliant to watch. But today again, he gave a glimpse of what he is good at. Indians have to make a choice. Is it Ishan Kishan? Is it Shreyas Iyer? I still think they will be debating it. There are another couple of games to go. We will only know the answer for that on the 8th of October. But for the moment, both those players have done really well in the opportunities presented to them. And they're given themselves a very good chance to get into that first 11.
You know, Zach, we were being a little critical in the last match when we said if we had to point out, it would probably be the fielding and it would be the death over bowling when I prodded you a little bit. If at all today I have to be really extra critical, do you think maybe shot selection by a few players was not the best, like the shot that Rahul hit at that given point in the innings, or do you think it was justified to go and because of the run rate was getting higher?
Yeah, because you are chasing 350 runs, so you have to keep up with the tempo. In the process, you have to take those risks as well, and you can lose wickets. So you can't be overly critical of that fact. I think the game was going to be difficult after around 30 overs. That's how the first innings suggested. And you as a batter at that stage should be taking that responsibility of taking that extra bit of risk to keep up with the tempo. You know, you wanted it to be, say, 80 or 90 runs in the last 10 overs. I think that was the calculation. So you want to keep up with that that rate, and in the process today they got out.
All right. So I've been constantly referring this to as the prelim, the pre-board exam. So if I have to ask our professors what you all would rate India after the bilateral series, what would you all rate India? What marks would you give India?
Most boxes ticked. Batting, the openers, we have good middle order, the backups look good, Surya's come good. The all-rounders, I still will say Jadeja needs a little more time with the bat. I have a feeling he'll bat a lot more in those practice games. Hardik Pandya has looked good in Asia Cup. The fast bowlers obviously put in good performances. Kuldeep has been good. Overall, a great performance, I think, in the last month. I mean, I would give them a 9 on 10 going into the World Cup, and I think those are good numbers to have as the home team.
Zach, for you, the other professor in class.
Yeah, copy paste. I think,
our professors can't copy paste.
No, I'm saying,
paste.
I mean, we've been talking about it.
Yes.
We've been talking about it since Asia Cup, right? And we've been saying, yes, KL Rahul was supposed to be back. He had that long injury layoff, injury concern. How is he going to shape up? Those were the debates which we were having. Shreyas Iyer was one of them. Prior to that, Bumrah was one of them. So that injury list was actually quite a long one for Indian team. So those were the main concerns. After that, you're talking about, okay, Hardik, his bowling is very important. He's going to play a crucial role. All-rounder role is always brings that additional responsibility on you to make sure that you are physically fit. Whether he'll be able to bowl 10 overs or no, he also did his role beautifully in Asia Cup. Taken this series off, which was again a part of plan. You look at the batting order and you look at each and every individual there. Ishan Kishan starting with that, the lefty debate was there, whether it's a predominant right-handed batting we are going in the World Cup with. But Ishan Kishan took that responsibility beautifully and solved that issue as well. So all in all, when we are seeing right now things, how they've shaped up, you look at that squad and you're saying that I think it's a good one. You know, Kuldeep also must get a mention here because he is in top wicket taking form, continued with that today, just bowled 6 overs, managed to get 2 wickets. That is something should give you a lot of confidence getting into the big tournament. All the bowling boxes are ticked nicely, the batting is covered, except for the fielding aspect which we discussed. I think we still have to see that, but they have enough time to figure those things out. By and large, it's looking like a solid squad. It's looking like a squad which can take advantage of the home conditions. It's looking like all the players are ready in good space. It's looking like the communication which has happened with each and every individual with regard to what they need to be in good space getting in the tournament. I think all those aspects are taken care of beautifully.
All right, so Professor Dinesh, Karthik and Professor Zaheer Khan, I think, have given India 9 out of 10. That one mark, I think, is the fielding which we have spoken about.
A half mark for fielding, half mark for the other half. I'll say that India probably need is Ravindra Jadeja's batting
Yes.
and Akshar Patel's bowling. I think these are the only 2 areas that they just need to make sure. They just need to fine tune it a little bit. It's not too much. Jadeja got 35 today, so I don't think we should be too harsh. But those, if at all, there are areas, and I can promise you, all the other 9 teams apart from India have much bigger worries.
Yes.
So I don't think we should be worried at all. But if at all, these are the only couple of areas that
No,
we
as a
need to
fan, 9 on 10 from both of you all feels very reassuring, and that half mark wo ho jayega. But what are the learnings that Australia can take out? Because they obviously had shuffled around a whole lot of players in their first and second game. They were not completely fit for it. Their third game, they've got things together with their bowling. The Mitch Marsh and David Warner were a big positive. So just learnings for Australia from this series.
how important it is for the top order to fire. Straight away that comes to my mind, because when they get going, they bat at a very good clip. So that puts a lot of pressure on the opponent's bowling, and they end up getting pass score, at times way more than that. So the top 3 are going to be really important. They don't have a very strong middle order. They probably are slightly lighter on the middle order compared to the top 3. Manas Labuschagne plays an important role. Does he make it to the squad? That's a question mark there. And then you follow it up with between Stoinis, Cameron Green, Maxwell, who are the 2 you're going to be playing. And then the bowlers are pretty solid. If this is the attack that they're going to play with Adam Zampa coming in, they are a well-rounded attack. So they're a good team. They're a team that's going to be a force to reckon with in this World Cup. Any team that is in yellow and plays in Chennai will always have some good memories there. So they'll be starting their campaign against India in Chennai. So we must say that they are one of the strong contenders going into the World Cup for the semi-finals. And just like Zach says, I think it's about getting to that top 4. After that, it's about 2 good days. And that I guess nobody can predict, but we can definitely say who are the best chances of getting into the top 4. And Australia are right up there to get into the semi-finals.
Okay, Zach, what are the marks you're giving Australia after this series?
Well, I think this game showed a completely different picture. If you look at it, just leading up to this, there were a lot of concerns. What I figured from their approach, I think they're going to go hard with the new ball. You know, that is something which they will take from this game. It worked for them. It was not working for them in the first 2 games which we've seen. So that is going to be their approach. Mitchell Marsh is going to be very critical factor of that, because more than Warner, I feel, you know, he's got that ability of putting bowlers under pressure. Warner, at times we've seen with extra pace, has a little bit of concern at this stage in his career. He was superb up till now, but right now when you see at times 145 click bowlers can trouble him. So that we'll have to wait and see how it shapes up. But his intent has been good. So from that point of view, his contribution is going to be very closely monitored. And Steve Smith and Labuschagne, I think, are going to be those 2 players who are going to decide those middle overs. So if Australia is sticking to this template, I think they will be able to put runs on board. If they're able to put runs on board with this bowling attack, they will always have a chance, because this bowling attack looked complete. You have Pat Cummins in the middle overs, you have Stark, you have Josh Hazlewood, who is going to be very consistent with the new ball, with Zampa coming back and Maxwell contributing the way he has. I think they will have all the bases covered. So it's just about putting runs on board, and then with this bowling attack, they'll always be in the game.
All right, then we've got a very nice detailed answer from both our professors, but I'm not going to let them go without, of course, discussing the big opener when we're going to be seeing you all next, which is on the 5th of October. England take on New Zealand in the first game of the World Cup. So we'll just do a quick preview of that because we can't let our Cricbuzz live viewers not know what you all think about the opener. Big game, a World Cup opener is always very exciting. We'll go for England squad first because I think you all both have England in your top 4 if I'm not mistaken. So England squad, the big surprise of course there is Ben Stokes coming in. I don't know what it is about the English team that you make a call after retirement, say please come back, they're all back there. We saw it in the test match, we're seeing it now again. But the big news is Ben Stokes back in.
Look, there are good players, there are great players, and there are legacy players, people who will be remembered for the test of time. And I think Ben Stokes is that for England. When he's there, he's like that positive force that the team rallies around. And when he's at the crease, they believe anything is possible. They play the most attractive brand of cricket in the world at the moment. They are great to watch. They play it in the best of spirit. And you must say that they have taken cricket to another level when it comes to test cricket for sure. And in the white ball formats as well, they're showing the world how it needs to be done. And it's just not the international cricket team. I think it trickles down to their systems as well, where their message has gone that, we want you to play a certain way. And it's seen in the cricket and the kind of cricketers that they're producing. And this English team, if at all on paper can compete with the Indian team, it is this English team because they have players who are match winners right from the start. Yes, Ben Stokes is a big name and you can see right in the middle of batters he is there, but also a massive name that was just thrown in a week after they announced their provisional squad was Harry Brook. He's again a superstar but might not start. They have David Malan and Johnny Bairstow. Joe Root follows. He's not been in the best of form. They would want him to come back into form, followed by Ben Stokes, Joss Butler, Liam Livingstone, Moeen Ali, and then the 3 fast bowlers and Adil Rashid. This would be the team that they go with. So if you put in the fast bowlers, there's Chris Woakes, Mark Wood, and it'll be a toss-up between Reece Topley, David Willey or Sam Curran. Most likely they would go with Sam Curran to start. Now that basically means that they bat all the way to 11, if you can consider Adil Rashid a batsman. And that's why they're so confident of going hard right from the first ball because they believe they have the batting to see it through. And that speaks volumes of how their squad is constructed and the kind of cricket that they've been playing. Just yesterday, they played a game in Ireland, and in 31 overs, they were 285 for 3.
Wow.
They could have well gone on to score 400, 450. We don't know what it was, but that's the kind of cricket that they're playing these days. Very great, very, very good to watch.
Zach, they're also in your top 4 and understandably so. But I think there's also Archer in their reserve squad who's travelling with them, who's not mentioned in the squad, but apparently he's travelling with them.
Yeah, he will be a part of the reserves for sure. So we'll have to wait and see if any changes during the tournament, if they opt for that, if there is injury to someone, they can always have that option. Also, they can monitor how he's shaping up because Jofra is also someone who has not been part of the team, not playing for a while now. So that's not going to make it easy for him. So it's always good if you're spending time with the teammates, bowling to them in the nets. The team management also has a sense of where you are at, and in terms of your physio needs, everything. You are in the zone. So I think that's the approach which they've taken. What goes well for England is the template which they've set. I think after 2015 World Cup, that's been that one landmark moment for them. The tournament not going so well and them making those hard decisions and then setting a template that this is the way we want to approach white ball cricket, be it T20 or ODIs. Since then, the graph of the team has been going up, and the culture of England cricket and the players around it is becoming stronger and stronger because of that. I think it's just the thought process which all the players are following, and it's just reaping rewards at this level. You see that that players are batting with that fearless mindset, and you are setting those targets which are not yet seen in today's day and age. So if you have that kind of approach, if you set 400 as a target, then only you will think of or find ways of achieving that. So those are the things which they are doing, which is working for them. They've made those conscious calls of adding those kind of players also to their squad because of that. So you see Livingston, you see Moeen Ali, you see Rashid also spending enough time on batting. So that has been their priority. So the people who are capable of batting, they are actually pushing them to bat more and more. That includes Chris Wokes as well. So they're building their team like that, so that all the players at the top can bat with that tempo. The challenge for them, I think, in these conditions is going to be how to adapt. How to change gears if need be. On days, it might be you're playing against a tough team and the pitch is not supporting to this style of play. Whether you're going to adapt, whether you're going to change, or you're going to continue with that. Because on those kind of conditions, if you target 400, you might end up at 150.
Yeah.
So that's the curiosity which I have around the England setup. But on the whole, I think they've set a template for their team, and that's why it's exciting to watch them at this stage. And they will bring that brand of cricket for this World Cup for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're all very curious and all very excited to always watch and see what England does, because they bring so many new things to the game. But let's have a look at New Zealand's squad now, because it's a team that we should never count out. They've been the runners-up the last 2 World Cups. And again, there's my favorite, Kane Williamson. I'm a big fan of Kane Williamson. He's back there captaining after the injury. They have, of course, Glenn Phillips, who I feel can be that MVP player for them. But just DK a little more on their squad.
They've had a very up and down time in the recent past, mainly because of injuries, a lot of players not playing. Also, you got to understand they are a team which is built on contracts. When Trent Boult and Jimmy Neesham decided not to move on with the contract, with the New Zealand Central contract, that was a big decision for them. It was a watershed moment in New Zealand cricket. They didn't see it coming. And it says that that'll be the way of the world for a lot of the countries and their professionals from here on. We've seen Alex Hales retiring because he didn't want to play. Jason Roy saying no to the contract. So it will become a way of the world. When it comes to New Zealand, they didn't beat England. They drew the series. But when they lost the game, they got wiped out in those games. They couldn't compete. In the recently concluded Bangladesh series, out of the 3 games that was held, 2 got washed out. But the 1 game that they ended up playing, New Zealand beat them pretty convincingly. Ish Sodhi picking up 4 wickets. They have a team which is a very New Zealand team in the sense that nothing great. You look at it and go, okay, I see what I'm seeing. There's nobody to scare you. But I can promise you, they are always the team to watch out for. They feel like beasts. They have a way of trying to play as a unit and put enough pressure. You can pretty much pick out the 11. It will be Devon Conway and Will Young to open, followed by Kane Williamson. At 4, it will be, at this point of time, at 4, it will be Daryl Mitchell at 4. At 5 will be Latham. At 6 will be Glenn Phillips. And then they have Mitchell Santner and the 4 bowlers. What they need to do is figure out whether they need to play Jimmy Neesham or Rachin Ravindra. Now, Jimmy Neesham is a fast bowling all-rounder. We all know what he is. But Rachin Ravindra is a new kid on the block. He bats left-handers, has got runs for them. But most importantly, he bowls left-arm spin and was effective in England, which tells me that he has a great chance to play here as well. Though I think the first match they will go Jimmy Neesham. They have a stock standard bowling attack if Saudi is available, but because he got injured in his thumb, he wouldn't be available for the first few games. So it will be Boult, Lockie Ferguson and Matt Henry to start. And again, the big question is, how do they fit in 3 spinners? You have a feeling that Ish Sodhi will play. Is it Mitchell Santner will play? So they have a combination where they have everything, but it's about putting it together. And they're generally very good in multi-nation tournaments. They've been really consistent. They're constant semi-finalists and finalists, be it the 50-over or the 20-over World Cup. A team that goes very unspoken about, but punch way above their weight and very consistent at that too.
You know, DK, this summary of yours reminded me of that topper in class in elocution competition. They just know everything. They know every say. It's a beautiful summary of the team. But Zach, you feel a very well-rounded team.
Yes, he has not left anything.
He's not left anything. He just has noticing
everything. It's not just the team which is well-rounded. It's the summary of that is so well-rounded.
But you feel a well-rounded team who can go the distance maybe this time, because just nice guys who I think everyone would want them to see pick the World Cup at.
See, I think DK rightly said that, when you look at that squad, You will not see very big names or people with big reputation and too much of fan following and stardom. So that's the picture you get. But someone needs to get all these things together, and I think that that person for them is Kane Williamson. So it will all depend on how he's shaping up. If he's fit and available, the earlier he plays, better it is for the New Zealand team, because you need that leader when you have these kind of players. And if you look at history of New Zealand cricket also, they had Stephen Fleming, who was actually playing this kind of a role, right? Like you have a captain which is understanding his restrictions, his limitations, and knowing the strengths, and then figure out a way of creating that impact and winning matches. So New Zealand cricket has always been like that. They will be like that. McCallum too. So you always had captains who actually put all these things together and created that impact at the higher level. And for that, I'm saying, if Kane Williamson, if he's fit and available, the sooner he's available, it's going to be good for New Zealand cricket. They will be able to have that kind of impact again. Other than that, also, they've always been heavy on research. You'll always see this team coming up with new field placements. This is the team which started with great batch, attacking with the new ball in white ball cricket. You've seen Deepak Patel bowling with the new ball, which is a regular thing right now. We keep seeing bowlers bowling with the new ball, but in those days, I think Deepak Patel was one of the few bowlers who started doing that, and New Zealand was the team who actually initiated that. So these kind of things are suggestive of those facts which we often associate New Zealand cricket with, that they will create. They'll punch above the weight because they do all these things very well, and they will do those things in this World Cup as well. So this team you can't take lightly, but we'll have to wait and see how they start and how soon Kane Williamson joins.
So just quickly then, DK, it's very difficult. Zach, you too, just one player each from both teams who we should watch out for on the first day, because that big pressure game of the World Cup.
For me, it's David Malan from England. I feel he's somebody who's batting really well. For him, Asian conditions is not easy. He's a good player in England, but for him to make a mark in this World Cup, he needs to start well, and he will be starting in the first 11. So here's an opportunity for him to show how good he is.
And from New Zealand?
From New Zealand, I'm genuinely only wishing, I think I'll be stealing this line, but Kane Williamson, I really want to see what
we all want him. We all want him to come. But for you, Zach?
Well, I think if not Kane Williamson from New Zealand right now, if he's not starting the World Cup, I'll say Tom Latham, because he's been very good. And I think he's one of those underrated players, but someone who is very consistent with contributing. So Tom Latham, I think, for New Zealand. For England, I'll say Johnny Bairstow. I think his form has been terrific. He's a class player.
All right, then we've gotten a really nice preview to our first game of the World Cup. But now we need to go back and answer Mr. Joy Bhattacharya's question, because I totally forgot about decoding this with you all, because that happens. But let's just see what the answer is. The question was, 3 people, Sangakkara, Peterson and Padikkal, share second place in a specific list A record. Who's in the first place?
Don't even look at us. Please, I think you need to go to the answer.
I don't know who to look at, because
not us.
I'm looking at the screen, just waiting for the answer to come.
All right, guys, just waiting for the answer. N. Jagadishan hit five List A centuries in a row. All the rest have hit 4. Just applause from DK, because
I don't know who to applaud, Jagdishan or Joy. It is a very good question. I mean, if somebody has got it right.
Yeah, I think we should just applaud the winner, because if they managed to decode this, Hardik Singh has not played today's game, but Hardik has won the game in the Joy Factor question of the day. Well done, Hardik. Congratulations. It's mind-blowing how people decode this, find the answers to it, because I feel really silly when I read Joy sir's questions. You all at least always have some clue with regards to where it's going.
We are on the same boat with you. Don't even bother. I think we also don't have a clue.
All right, I think maybe we should get some tutoring from Joy Bhattacharya. as to how to decode his questions. We can do that in between our sessions at Cricbuzz Live. I'm going to request for that. But gentlemen, it's been a lot of fun. It's been 3 matches of seeing where India goes. It's all been World Cup oriented. So I'm very excited to looking forward to seeing you all both for the World Cup. Thank you very much for just making it so much fun, making it so insightful. The reverse swing, the analysis, just listening to you all is always so much fun. So guys, that's all for the bilateral series between India and Australia. But the big board exam of the World Cup starts on the 5th of October. All the fun and excitement happens here at Cricbuzz Live. So don't forget to join us, because not only Zach, DK, but we have so many exciting people who are going to be here. So like I said, if you want the fun, you want the excitement, you need to be here. We'll see you on the 5th of October on Cricbuzz Live. Good night and goodbye.